Have you ever, in the middle of a quiet afternoon, suddenly realized your life seems full of everything, yet there's an emptiness inside you that you can't quite name? You might be sitting in a warm, comfortable home with technology and convenience all within reach, but every night as the lights dim, your heart still feels tired and your mind keeps rushing like a wild river that never truly rests. I understand that feeling, because years ago, I was chasing all kinds of ways to heal. Medication, coffee, endless self-help courses. But peace always seemed out of reach, like a dream that disappears the moment you try to hold it. And then, an old teacher under the Bodhi tree once told me, "People search everywhere for peace, but few realize peace has never left their own hearts." From that simple sentence, a journey began. And today, I want to invite you to walk that same path, a gentle path where the wisdom of Buddhism and Eastern teachings meets modern science, opening the door to natural healing for both body and mind. Welcome to Wisdom Quiet, a place where we rediscover stillness and deep happiness together. If these words resonate with you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with friends, and leave a comment about your own experience, because healing becomes truly beautiful when we walk together, listen deeply, and support one another along the way.
Part 1. Meditation. From ancient monks to modern neuroscience. Have you ever felt your mind racing like a wild river, even when your body was perfectly still? It's a common experience. We live in a world full of noise, screens, and endless to-do lists. And when people hear the word meditation, many picture monks sitting for hours under a tree, completely free of thoughts. That image feels so far away from our modern reality that some people try meditation once, can't empty their mind, and quickly give up. But here's the truth. Peace comes not from escaping your thoughts, but from no longer being their prisoner. A teaching inspired by the Buddha. Meditation isn't about forcing your mind to be blank or sitting perfectly still for hours. It's about learning to watch your thoughts the way you'd watch clouds drift across the sky, without chasing, without clinging. Modern science now confirms what ancient monks have practiced for over 2,500 years. A Harvard study shows that just 10 minutes of meditation a day can actually shrink the amygdala, the part of your brain that fuels stress and fear, while strengthening the prefrontal cortex, which governs focus, emotional balance, and decision-making. Take Sarah, a nurse from Chicago. Years of stressful night shifts left her with chronic migraines. She had tried medication after medication, but nothing really worked. Finally, she began a simple practice, 10 minutes of breathing meditation each night. Within a month, her migraines vanished, not because of magic, but because her nervous system learned to relax, to feel safe again. Here's the thing. Many beginners make the same mistake Sarah once did, thinking meditation only works if your mind goes completely silent. But meditation isn't about perfection, it's about presence. So tonight, try this. Sit comfortably. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, then breathe out slowly for 6. When your mind wanders, and it will, just smile gently and bring it back to the breath. Do this for 3 minutes. And if you try it, share your experience in the comments. Did it calm your mind? Did it surprise you? I'd love to hear. Because the moment you taste even a drop of stillness, you realize something powerful. Healing begins not in a hospital, but in the quiet space inside you. And that quiet space becomes even stronger when we talk about the stories we tell ourselves, our thoughts. That's where we're headed next. Mindful breathing, the bridge between body and mind. and how the mind can rewire itself for hope and resilience.
Part 2. Mindful breathing, the bridge between body and mind. Have you ever felt your breath turn shallow, like a bird flapping frantically in its cage whenever life feels heavy? The breath is like a river flowing through your body, sometimes calm and gentle, sometimes rushing with the storms of the mind. And here's the quiet truth. When we learn to guide this river, the storms inside begin to soften, too. Modern research shows that slow, mindful breathing lowers blood pressure, calms anxiety, and even improves sleep. Each deep breath sends a message to your nervous system. You are safe. You can rest now. But this wisdom isn't new. More than 2,500 years ago, the Buddha taught, breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I bring peace to my mind. Let me tell you about David, a retired veteran who used to wake up in the night gripped by panic attacks. Medications helped a little, but the fear always returned. Then his therapist taught him the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 7 counts, exhale slowly for 8 counts. At first, David felt awkward counting his breaths in the dark, but after a week, something changed. Each night, as he slowed his breathing, his heart calmed. The panic attacks loosened their grip. For the first time in years, David slept peacefully. The lesson is simple yet profound. We can't always control our thoughts, but we can always return to our breath. Every time you return, it's like guiding a lost child back home, over and over, until home feels familiar again. So tonight, try the 4-7-8 method for just 3 minutes before sleep. Feel the air enter and leave your body like waves touching the shore. And if you try it, share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear how your night changes. Because as the breath softens the body and quiets the mind, it opens the door for the next step on our journey, understanding the difference between true positive thinking and toxic positivity, and how our thoughts shape the stories we live by.
Part 3. Positive thinking versus toxic positivity. Have you ever been told, just stay positive, at a time when your heart felt like it was breaking? It's like someone pasting a bright sticker over a cracked window. The crack is still there, but no one wants to look at it. That's what we call toxic positivity, a forced smile that hides pain rather than heals it. But true positive thinking is different. It doesn't deny your sadness. It simply whispers, this pain is real, but so is my hope. The Buddha once said, just as rain soaks both the weeds and the flowers, life brings both suffering and joy. The wise one sees both, yet clings to neither. Science now proves what wisdom is known for centuries. Negative self-talk, thoughts like, I'll never be happy again, keeps the body in survival mode, flooding it with stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, this erodes health and happiness. But when we practice gentle, hopeful thoughts like, this moment is hard, but it will pass, or I am grateful for small things today, the brain begins to release dopamine and serotonin, the body's natural messengers of peace and resilience. Let me share a story. Jessica, a teacher in her 40s, was facing the storm of a painful divorce. At first, she tried to smile, to tell herself everything's fine. But inside, she felt like she was drowning. That's toxic positivity, covering the wound instead of cleaning it. Then she tried something simple, a gratitude journal. Each night, she wrote down 3 small things she was thankful for: the sound of rain on the roof, a call from her sister, a warm cup of tea before bed. At first, it felt too small to matter, but after 2 weeks, Jessica noticed her mind slowly searching for beauty rather than pain. She wasn't ignoring her sadness. She was learning to see the whole picture, the grief and the grace. Here's the lesson. Toxic positivity says, ignore the pain, pretend to be happy. True positive thinking says, this pain is real, but so is my strength, my gratitude, and my hope. So tonight, before you sleep, pause for a moment. Let the day settle like dust after rain. Then write down 3 things you are grateful for. Big or small, it doesn't matter. And if you try it, share your experience in the comments. I would love to hear how your heart feels after 1 week. Because once your thoughts begin to heal, the next step is learning to treat yourself with the same compassion you offer so freely to others. And that brings us to our next chapter, self-compassion, loving yourself without guilt.
Part 4. Self-compassion, loving yourself without guilt. Have you ever carried a backpack so heavy with guilt and self-criticism that even when the day was over, you forgot to put it down? We often speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to someone we love. A small mistake, and we call ourselves useless. A setback, and we whisper, I'll never be good enough. We think harshness will make us stronger, but really, it only makes the heart more tired. Self-compassion is not about excusing our flaws. It's about offering ourselves the same kindness we give so freely to others. The Buddha once said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Modern research agrees. A Stanford study found that people who practice self-compassion have lower anxiety, greater emotional resilience, and even stronger motivation to grow. Not because they punish themselves, but because they feel safe enough to try again. Let me tell you about Mark, a firefighter in his 50s. For years, he saved lives. But one night, he couldn't save a child from a burning house. He replayed that moment endlessly, blaming himself. He thought if he carried enough guilt, maybe it would make him a better man. Then, during a mindfulness retreat, a teacher asked him to place his hand on his heart and say softly, "I did my best. I wish myself peace." At first, it felt strange, almost selfish. But over time, those simple words began to heal him. Mark realized kindness toward himself didn't erase the pain. It gave him the courage to keep living, serving, and loving without the weight of shame. Here's the lesson. Self-compassion is not weakness. It is the soil where growth and healing take root. So tonight, pause for a moment. Place your hand on your heart. Take one deep, slow breath. Whisper gently, "I am doing the best I can." Let the room be silent for a while. Let the words settle like sunlight warming a cold morning. And when you're ready, share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be the light someone else needs tonight. Because when we learn to befriend ourselves, we discover another kind of nourishment, the way we feed not just our hearts, but our bodies too. That brings us to our next chapter, mindful eating, turning every meal into a moment of peace.
Part 5. Mindful eating, turning every meal into a moment of peace. Have you ever finished a meal and realized you barely tasted it? It's like rushing through a beautiful symphony without hearing a single note. In today's world, we often eat while scrolling through our phones, checking emails, or thinking about tomorrow's problems.
We fill our stomachs, but starve our hearts. Buddhist wisdom teaches something different. The Buddha once told his disciples to eat slowly, in silence, to see each grain of rice as sunlight, rain, and the hands of farmers who nurtured it. When we eat with mindfulness, a simple meal becomes a sacred experience. Science now echoes this ancient truth. Studies show mindful eating can reduce overeating by up to 75% and improve digestion, simply because slowing down gives the brain time to recognize fullness. Let me share a story. Maria, a lawyer in her 40s, used to eat dinner in front of her laptop every night. Acid reflux, fatigue, and stress were her constant companions. Her doctor suggested the 20-minute meal rule. No screens, chew slowly, focus only on the food. At first, it felt awkward. Meals seemed too quiet. But after 2 weeks, her digestion improved, her energy returned, and for the first time in years, she felt gratitude instead of stress when eating. Here's the lesson. Mindful eating isn't about what you eat. It's about how you eat. Every bite can be a meditation. Every meal, a moment of peace. So tonight, before you eat, pause, put down your phone, take one slow breath. Look at your food as if seeing it for the first time. Taste it fully. Let the room fall silent for a moment after the last bite, as if the meal itself is saying, "Thank you." And if you try this, share your experience in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else to slow down, to taste life again, one bite at a time. Because once we learn to eat with awareness, the next step is learning to live with awareness, bringing mindfulness into every corner of our daily lives. That's what we'll explore next. Mindfulness in daily life, turning ordinary moments into sacred rituals.
Part 6. Mindfulness in Daily Life. Turning ordinary moments into sacred rituals. Have you ever driven home and realized you can't remember a single turn you took? It's like living with the lights on, but no one really home inside. In our busy lives, we often rush through the day as if life were a checklist to complete rather than a gift to experience. We eat, work, talk, and drive, but our minds are everywhere except here. This is what we call living on autopilot. The Buddha once said, "When walking, walk. When eating, eat." Simple words, yet in today's world of constant noise, they feel almost radical. Science now supports this ancient wisdom. Research from Harvard shows that people spend nearly 47% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're doing, and this mind-wandering is directly linked to lower happiness levels. Let me share a story. Sarah, a young mother, was constantly exhausted. Her days were filled with work, parenting, and endless to-do lists. One evening, she decided to try something different. For the next 15 minutes, I will be fully here with my son. She put down her phone. She watched his little hands build a tower of blocks. She listened to his laughter without rushing him. She felt the warmth of the late afternoon sun on her face. It was such a small moment, yet for the first time in months, Sarah felt the weight in her chest soften. Here's the lesson. Mindfulness doesn't require hours of meditation. It simply asks you to come home to the present moment. You can wash the dishes and feel the warm water on your hands. You can sip tea and actually taste it instead of scrolling through your phone. Even a red light can be a mini meditation, one slow, gentle breath at a time. So today, choose one ordinary moment. It could be brushing your teeth, folding laundry, or taking a walk. Let it be a ritual, not just a routine. And when you do, pause for a few seconds after. Let the silence settle, like soft rain after a long drought. Feel how time itself seems to breathe with you. If you try this, share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be the gentle reminder someone else needs to slow down,
to live more deeply, one mindful moment at a time. Because once we learn to be present in our own lives, the next natural step is to turn outward, discovering how generosity and kindness can heal not only the world, but our own hearts. That's what we'll explore next, the healing power of generosity, how giving transforms the giver.
Part 7. The healing power of generosity, how giving transforms the giver. Have you ever given something, your time, your kindness, your attention, and felt as if you planted a small seed in someone's heart, only to discover flowers blooming in your own? Generosity is often misunderstood. We think it's about grand gestures or wealth, but true generosity is quieter than that. It's holding the door open for someone carrying heavy bags. It's listening when a friend feels invisible. It's offering a smile to a stranger on a rainy day. The Buddha once said, "If you knew what I know about the power of giving, you would not let a single meal pass without sharing it." Modern science now confirms this ancient truth. Researchers at the University of Zurich found that acts of generosity activate the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine and oxytocin, the very chemicals that bring joy, reduce stress, and deepen our sense of connection. But the real magic of giving cannot be measured in brain scans alone. It lives in the human heart. Let me share a story. Helen, a widow in her 70s, lived alone for many years. Her house was quiet, but not the kind of quiet that makes the air feel heavy. One day, she saw a flyer at the grocery store. Volunteers needed to serve meals at the community center. On a cold Tuesday afternoon, she walked in for the first time. The room smelled of warm soup and fresh bread. She handed out plates to people who had almost nothing. One man looked at her, eyes tired but grateful, and whispered, "Thank you, ma'am. I can't remember the last time someone served me with a smile." Helen smiled back. Something cracked open in her chest, a warmth she hadn't felt in years. Week after week, she kept returning. And one day, she told a friend, "I came here to help others, but it turns out they are helping me find life again." Here's the lesson. Generosity is not a one-way gift. It heals the loneliness in the giver as much as it eases the pain of the receiver. So today, pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Think about the people who have given you kindness in your own life. A teacher, a friend, maybe even a stranger who smiled at you on a hard day. Feel that warmth for a few seconds and then carry it forward. Offer one small act of kindness this week. It doesn't have to be big. A message, a smile, a meal. And if you do, share your story in the comments. Your act of kindness might become the gentle reminder someone else needs to believe in goodness again. Because when the heart learns to give freely, gratitude begins to bloom. And gratitude is where true freedom is born. That's what we'll explore next. Gratitude and inner freedom, finding joy in the present moment.
Part 8. Gratitude and inner freedom, finding joy in the present moment. Have you ever noticed how a single moment of gratitude can feel like sunlight slowly breaking through heavy clouds after a long storm? Gratitude doesn't change what's on our plate. It changes the eyes with which we see the meal before us. The Buddha once said, "Let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. If we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful." Modern science agrees. Researchers at the University of California found that people who kept a gratitude journal for 3 weeks reported 25% more life satisfaction and even slept better than those who didn't. But gratitude is more than science. It is freedom from the silent chains of not enough time, not enough money, not enough love. It whispers, "Look again. Life has already given you 1,000 reasons to smile." Let me tell you about David. David was a successful businessman in his 50s.
On paper, he had everything: cars, houses, a reputation people envied. But one night, after a health scare left him in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, he realized his life felt like a beautiful house with no lights on inside. His doctor suggested a simple exercise. Every evening, write down 3 things he was grateful for. At first, David resisted. Gratitude felt too small compared to the weight he carried. But slowly, his journal filled. The sound of rain on the roof tonight. My daughter's laugh when I told a silly joke. The nurse who held my hand before the test. One evening, he closed the journal, leaned back, and whispered to himself, "My life isn't empty. I just forgot to notice." Here's the lesson. Gratitude doesn't erase life's struggles, but it gives you freedom from waiting for someday to feel joy. So tonight, pause, close your eyes, take one slow, deep breath. Picture 3 things, big or small, that make this moment enough. Let the feeling rise slowly, like sunlight warming the cold corners of your heart. And if you try this for a week, share your experience in the comments. Your story might be the gentle reminder someone else needs, the way a single candle can light another without losing its own flame. Because when gratitude opens the door, peace and inner freedom step in quietly, and they stay. And now, as our journey nears its end, let's bring all the wisdom together in one final reflection. The journey ahead, living a life of awareness, compassion, and freedom.
As we come to the end of this journey together, take a moment. Close your eyes. Let the noise of the day settle like dust after a long storm, and feel your own breath rising and falling. You see, this video was never just about 12 secrets or steps to follow. It was about remembering. Remembering that the peace you seek has been quietly waiting inside you all along. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Today, we walked through ancient wisdom and modern science. We listened to stories of healing, of letting go, of kindness and gratitude. We learned how to pause in the middle of a busy day, how to eat with awareness, how to forgive ourselves, how to give without expecting anything in return. But here is the truth. This journey does not end here, because living with awareness, compassion, and freedom is not a destination, it is a daily practice. Some days you will forget. You will rush through meals. You will lose your temper. You will feel the old habits pulling you back. And that is okay. Every sunrise is a new invitation to breathe slowly, to speak kindly, to live with a little more presence and a little less fear. So, as you step into tomorrow, remember, awareness turns ordinary moments into sacred rituals. Compassion makes the heart light enough to carry the weight of the world. And freedom comes not from having everything, but from needing less, loving more, and living fully right here, right now. If this video has touched you, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need these words today. And in the comments, tell us, which practice will you begin with? Because every story you share can become a gentle spark for someone else's healing. This is Wisdom Quiet, where ancient truth meets modern life, and where your journey toward awareness, compassion, and inner freedom truly begins.